Hello, Pauper fans. This is Mathonical, and you're joining me for round 4 of the October 29th Pauper Challenge. Our opening hand looks reasonably good. We're playing against Green Prinny, who is known to play the inside-out combo quite a bit. So having a bunch of early interaction blockers and the like is very good. It is a bit on the slow side, having the Jukabog into the bounce land, but this is a reasonable keep, so we're going to go ahead and do that. We're basically just hoping not for a turn 1 planes into the tribe. That would probably beat us. Prismatic Strands is extra additional interaction, so we're happy to see that. It also means that we can bounce our Jukabog and get rid of our, and basically discard the Prismatic Strands just to have it as a free cast later on. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We would like to draw additional lands, but in the meantime, this is okay. Green Prinny is cycling a Shadow Rift. That's fine by us. It basically means they're looking for their tribe or white mana. And now we're able to get our Thraben Inspector online. We're not able to crack our clue since we don't have any additional mana. And they're basically showing that they have a Circular Logic from the first Augur and a Taxing Probe from the second one, which they cast. So he knows the contents of our hand and can play around it accordingly. And we, of course, have to know that Green Prinny is going to be playing around our hand as much as possible, so we have to assume that if he's going for any kind of play, that he's got a plan for what's in our hand. Gets the plains, so he'd be able to start playing his tribe, but since he doesn't play it there, that means he likely doesn't have enough protection for the number of ways we have of killing it. We do want to get this Pestilence online, if possible. That is our best way of winning, since with it online, we can just repeatedly, with as much mana as we have, kill their tribe as they try and go for the combo. So, since they have no counter magic available right now, it looks like a pretty good, and they don't have tribe on the field, that would have been a decent place to go for it. Instead, I end up wanting to reset the Rift Watcher. I feel like that might have been a misplay. Probably would have been best to get the Pestilence online. So this is not a matchup I am as experienced in, since not many people play the inside-out combo regularly. And I didn't really realize how powerful Pestilence is until later in the tournament, but I try and get it online here. He's trying to counter it with Circular Logic, but I've been able to reduce his graveyard size with the Jukabog, so I'm able to force it through with the mana left over to pay for it. And there's the tribe, but we do have a lot of mana available to try and keep this, basically Pestilence it down. We're also going to go ahead and try and Doomblade it, which they're going to counter. We're going to get in for some damage. And basically we have a lot of interaction, since we're able to Pestilence up to 3 times, and we've got a Prismatic Strands in the graveyard, so there isn't really any way for them to be able to protect it. The way that he may have been able to get around is if he had his Gigadrowse, he could have tapped a bunch of our lands to basically prevent us from being able to activate Pestilence multiple times. But since he wasn't able to do that, he knows that we're going to be able to win next turn, since we'll just be able to attack with Core Skyfisher and activate our Pestilence a number of times to win. So, Green Prinny concedes in that one, and we will jump into game 2. Sideboarding. Let's take a quick look. I don't like Palace Sentinels here, since they have a lot of like Shadow Rifts and the like, so even their Augur of Bolas can steal away our Monarchy, and we would not like that. We don't want them to draw additional cards. I also take out the Knight's Whisper, because this is another one of those matchups where we want to be as fast as possible, and taking a turn off to just draw an additional, like basically cycle and draw an additional card isn't quite good enough in my opinion. And Gift of Orzhova, generally, we don't need to get the additional life gain going to be able to win this. That is mostly there for matchups like Boros Monarch and the like, where they're going to be burning you. So, after taking those out, we bring in the Duresses. We want to try and remove cards from their hand, and we want to target the cards that are part of their combo. We also bring in the Doomblades. We want more ways of killing their creatures, and we want the Coalition Honor Guards. That is one of our better ways of winning the matchup, since it basically turns off all of their combo kill potential, since they would have to target our Honor Guards. There is the option of bringing in the Raven's Crime. I was on the fence for that one, ended up not bringing it in. I did take out a Wall of Hope, since if they're going off, you don't really have the option of blocking. Also took out a Guardian of the Guild pack since I want to reduce the mana cost for our deck a bit. Just so, yeah, just tapping out turn 4 for a creature that they can't deal with isn't really going to help our game plan of winning anyways, so I go ahead and take one of those out. And let's take a look at our opening hand. Unfortunately not a keepable one, for obvious reasons. This one is a reasonable keep. We do have the Doomblade, we have a Cryptorat that we can get online, or Skyfisher. Pestilence is the best card, so we're just going to have to hope to draw the lands to get there. We're going to put the Rift Watcher to the bottom because we want additional land drops to get to the Pestilence. And we draw another Pestilence. So, while it is a good card, we don't really need multiples of it, and we do want lands at this point. Thankfully, they haven't started presenting the Tribe plus counter spells to protect it. Having an additional Doomblade is nice. It means we might be able to work our way through multiple tribes if they start coming down. Actually, did I bring in any of the relics? No. So something else you can do is you can bring in relics to basically turn off their circular logics. So that's something that you may want to keep in mind. Since I didn't draw a land, I'm just going to go ahead and play the core Skyfisher creature online. Since I have the Duress, I'm able to cast that. He has a very good hand that can deal with a lot of our Doomblades, and now he has a white source, which he didn't have previously. I took the Gush to try and prevent him from getting to his white source, but he ended up drawing it naturally, so, you know. Gonna just get in for some damage, because why not? We do have our Doomblades online, and we're basically just looking to trade our Doomblades with as many tribes as possible. Currently there isn't any counter magic going on, and so they do play tribes, we kill it. We now have our Cryptorat online. They're going to Dizzy Spell, digging for a Piracy Charm. Basically, they're just going to use that to kill our Cryptorat, which makes sense. We still haven't drawn our 4th land, which we really do want, so with Raven Inspector trying to use, basically just holding up the Clue and the Doomblade. Continuing to get their land drops and play another tribe. We have the option here of either using the Clue or the Doomblade. I end up going with the Doomblade option just because if we draw into the land naturally, we'll be able to play the Pestilence, and we do want that tribe off the board. We draw with the Clue trying to find that land drop, still don't find it, very unfortunate, but not much we can do about that. They've now got all their tribes out. If we had cast the Chainer's Edict last turn instead of using the Clue, we could have used the Chainer's Edict again to kill the other creature. Unfortunately, that's not how it played out. Turns out he had drawn a Gush, which is really good for him. We know most of the cards in his hand. He's only drawn a couple cards off his Shadow Rift and Inside Out, so we try and go for the Prismatic Strands here, but it turns out the 2 cards he drew were 2 Circular Logics. So, yeah. Very unfortunate for us. He drew exactly what he needed when he needed it to go for the combo kill, and he got us. Alright, so we're going to jump into game 3. Let's see if I made any additional sideboard changes. Yeah, so I brought in 1 Relic Progenitus for another Guardian. I also... what else did we do? I think I took out some more of the Guardians. I'm not sure exactly what I brought in. Oh yeah, I brought in the Raven's Crime. So yeah, I brought in the Raven's Crime and the Relic Progenitus over the other 2 Guardians. Just some ways of reducing the card count in their hand and a little bit of extra graveyard interaction to turn off the circular logic. Taking a look at our opening hand, this is a reasonable keep. We've got early interaction, we've got a creature to play. Prismatic Strands is great. Basically, that's 2 things they'd need to stop to allow their combo to go off. And then we've got the Coalition Honor Guard with enough mana to cast it. That is the card that we want to get down and try and prevent them from winning with. I have looked at Green Infiniti's list at this point because I wanted to know what ways they have of getting out of this, and they do have 1 Echoing Truth on the board, which I'm assuming they brought in since this list, or a list very similar to this, did pop up on Goldfish when I went 5-0 with it just a few days back. So we're going to go ahead and keep this, and we'll see how it goes. Starting with the Crossroads, because bouncing that allows us to gain additional life, which is nice. And a Doomblade, it's additional extra action, that is good as well. basically, we're just looking to kill creatures and get honor guards online. Now, the second one, while it would normally be really nice, Echoing Truth would get all of it off the board at one time, so there's no real point in playing the second one, since it doesn't help protect us any more than the first one does. Here, Gataxian Probe, seeing our multiple honor guards, there isn't really much that they can do to stop it with 1 mana, so I'm just going to go ahead and play it. Green Briny doesn't really play any of the dazes, so I'm not playing around that. And now Green Briny is going through the try to find the Echoing Truth plan, or the Echoing Truth. So we're just going to go ahead and get a clock down with the Core Skyfisher, and try and get in for some additional damage where possible. I do want to try and find some additional mana, so that way we can keep open as many of our tools as possible if he does find the tribe and get it down. Basically, if he has a tribe down, we have to be careful of the Echoing Truth, being able to get rid of our honor guard and then comboing off the next turn. Land is nice there. Continue to play our stuff. Don't really have anything to combo with our Core Skyfisher, but just getting it down I feel is important because we do want to try and win as quickly as possible. He's going to be drawing a lot of cards over the course of the game. Does get the tribe down, has 2 mana open, so we do want to try and be careful of an Echoing Truth. Casting the Doomblade here forces the tapping of an additional mana, so there is no way of Echoing Truth on this turn, so I'm feeling pretty safe here. Just gaining additional 2 life, and we're going to get in for some additional damage here. I don't feel like I'd be able to get comboed out this turn with the Prismatic Strands and the Disfigure. He does get a Dispel, so I know he's working towards trying to protect his combo. I blocked there, but then realized that it's very likely that he has some way of doing something, so I just kind of cash in the Prismatic Strands. I also do want it in the graveyard, just as an additional effect with 2 untapped creatures. Here, I end up playing the Thraben Spectre just because I want additional creatures down, and I feel like I'm leaving up 2 creatures, but then I realized right here that I'd made a mistake. Now I've only got 1 creature up, and I can't flash back both Prismatic Strands. So even though I have 3 effects up, that isn't always enough against the Inside Out combo deck. So I feel like it would have been either better to not play the Thraben Spectre, to leave up an additional Disfigure, or to not attack with one of the Core Skyfishers. But I ended up doing it this way, because I thought being able to get in for 4 damage here would have been enough to finish the game in 2 turns, and try and win with that. But, as you can see, he ends up having a lot of the counter spells. He's been able to draw extremely well and have exactly what he needs, for the most part. So just go over a bit more about what was the optimal play with the best winning chances. I feel like getting the Thraben Spectre down was something that we wanted to do, because we want to be able to draw additional cards and get additional land drops, but we should have only attacked with 1 Core Skyfisher. That way we would have had 1 Prismatic Strands to cast, 1 Disfigure to cast, and 2 Prismatic Strands from the graveyard to flash back. That's 4 interaction, and that is quite difficult for the combo deck to go and do, considering how many cards they will have to discard to get the tribe big enough. But it turns out I chose a 3 interaction line instead of 4, and he has exactly the right cards in the right amounts to beat us exactly. Very unfortunate. And from this, I've learned that you want to try and maximize as many interactions as possible. And 3 is not enough. You definitely want to go with 4. Even the Coalition Honor Guard, he was able to find his 1 of Echoing Truth to manage to go off. So, very lucky draws, and they definitely worked out in his favor. And that is our first loss of the tournament so far, and I hope you'll join me for round 5.